In the early morning of May 29, 1453, the great city of Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Empire. For the people living inside the city, this day became one of the most frightening moments in history. It was not just a battle, it was the end of a 1,000-year-old empire. In this video, we will look at what happened, why it happened, and what the people of Constantinople went through as their city collapsed around them. For hundreds of years, Constantinople was one of the richest and strongest cities in the world, but by 1453, the city was no longer powerful. Many people had moved away, buildings were breaking down, and the Byzantine Empire had shrunk to almost nothing. Only about 50,000 people still lived inside the city, and they had fewer than 7,000 soldiers to defend them outside the walls. The young Ottoman ruler Sultan Mehmed II gathered a huge army of 80,000 to 100,000 soldiers. He wanted Constantinople to become the capital of his empire, and he was determined to take it. The Ottoman attack begins. Ottomans brought new and terrifying weapons. Their biggest cannon was so large that it could fire massive stone balls that smashed into the city's walls. Every day the walls shook from the explosions, and every night the tired defenders tried to repair the damage. Mehmed also had the Janissaries, his most elite soldiers. They were highly trained and followed orders without fear. He also brought ships and even dragged some of them over land on wooden logs to surprise the defenders. The people inside the city were brave, but they knew they were outnumbered and running out of time. Before sunrise on May 29th, Mehmed ordered the final attack. He sent his troops in waves. The first group ran forward to weaken the defenders. The second group pushed harder. And then the Janissaries came in. The strongest and toughest of all. A section of the city wall finally broke. Through that gap, thousands of Ottoman soldiers poured into the city, the streets filled with fighting, shouting, and fear. The last Byzantine emperor, Constantine XI, refused to run. He fought bravely until he was killed. No one ever found his body. With his death, the Byzantine Empire came to an end. The sack of the Scythians, the Ottomans were inside. The city fell into chaos. According to the rules of war at that time, soldiers were allowed to take anything they wanted from a captured city. Homes were broken into, treasures were stolen, and many people were taken prisoner. Many families ran to Hagia Sophia, the biggest and most important church in the city. They hoped they would be safe there. But Ottoman soldiers broke down the doors and entered the church. Some people were killed, and many others were taken away to be sold as slaves. Eyewitnesses said that the streets were filled with bodies and that the sounds of crying and shouting could be heard everywhere. Stories from the fall of Constantinople is filled with heartbreaking stories. Children were separated from their parents. Old people who could not move quickly enough were killed. Churches and libraries were destroyed. Some people tried to escape by boat, but many drowned or were captured by soldiers waiting in the harbor. One historian wrote that so many people died in the streets that you could almost walk without touching the ground because of how many bodies were everywhere. Around midday, Sultan Mehmed II entered the city. Himself, he saw the destruction and ordered his soldiers to stop the looting earlier than planned. This meant the people who were still alive would not face more violence. Mehmed went into the damaged Hagia Sophia and told one of his soldiers to stop breaking the church's marble floor. He declared that the city now belonged to him and that he wanted it rebuilt. He also invited people who had run away to return and live in the city again. His goal was to make Constantinople, soon to be renamed Istanbul, a strong and important capital for the Ottoman Empire. The world changes. Fall of Constantinople changed history in many ways. The Byzantine Empire was gone forever. The Ottomans became one of the most powerful empires in the world. Greek scholars who fled the city brought their knowledge to Western Europe, helping inspire the Renaissance. Europeans also began searching for new trade routes, which later led to the Age of Exploration. But for the people who lived through the fall, the memories were full of sadness and fear. Their homes were destroyed, their families torn apart, and their way of life ended overnight. The Ottoman conquest of Constantinople was one of the most dramatic and painful events in History. It showed how even the greatest cities can fall and how war can change the lives of ordinary people forever. Empires rise and empires fall, but the stories of those who lived through these moments remind us of the human cost behind every historical event.